What are we looking for?
You're looking for your hot spots usually.
Not hot.
Cold
Your,
spots.
yeah, your
Cold spots.
Your hot's
Thank you.
gonna be orange, and your colds are blue and black, and
He's already on it. He's taking over the show, everybody. So, he doesn't know my joke, though. You all should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. That means I'm the hottest thing inside the frame right now.
Hey.
Yeah, ladies, that works. I know. You ought to see bridal parties. They're normally on the ground laughing because half of them are drunk. But anyway, so he did make a good point. We're looking for blue and black. I'm looking for those shapes to either take shape or to move on their own. When I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. That's what I'm looking for because that's what we've caught with this guy in the past. Tina's like, okay, that sounds legit. We're going to let Herb catch that. I also have a blue dot bouncing around the screen, giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment. I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. Our ambient temperature tonight, I want to say, is like 71. We're just going to call it an even 70. So I'm looking for 55 degrees and colder to make sure, like, in the event that we don't have a full-blown figure walking towards us, we might actually have just a few cold spots being generated. So, Herb, I don't know if you've used this model before.
is that actually a FLIR? Or is that
It is a FLIR. It's a FLIR Pro 1.
Yeah, I've got one I've used for my. That's the one that's bolting onto your phone, right?
Correct.
Yeah, no, I've got the actual camera.
Well, good. You're going to handle it this way. Don't handle the camera because it's on its last leg. It will pop out of there. That's your double time. It's much easier to find an anomaly coming out of your camera if it's moving very slow because I watch it in double speed. And I do that so I can cover more of the video. And also, it's easier to go back to be able to find it. So again, just move as slow as possible. Herb, you actually have 2 extra rolls out of your camera. I know I said don't film people, but try to keep one of us in view at all times. That's why I make that hottest guy in the video joke at the beginning. The other thing is keep the sky out of view. I'm sure you figured that out by now.
Yep.
But for the rest of these folks that don't know, that blue dot will default to the sky because there's no surface. No ghost is hovering around us all night long, sitting at like minus 10 degrees. It's just looking for something to measure. So he's going to do his best, even though he's the tallest person, which actually might work out. I mean, he has to look down on us, right? So he's going to have to keep the sky out. I'm going to talk more about EMF as we kind of move throughout the evening. Cameras, when we get into these spaces, if I forget to tell you, because I'm going to be very busy with 11 people tonight, hit those record buttons on your cameras, but keep it rolling for the entire duration that we're in that space. Because if you try to hit that record button when you think you saw something, it's already gone. So again, we won't be able to get it unless you're recording the entire time. We don't need to record in between spaces because we don't want to recreate the Blair Witch Project as we're going in between spaces. So, all right. Any other major questions about your devices, or have we heard anything else? Lucy, any more? Adele, maybe some beats? You can't make it out. It's okay. You're going to get better at this as the night rolls on. So Spirit Box work is the hardest thing out here. So anybody with headphones on, it is difficult. I'm asking you to do something with your senses that you've probably never done before. You're listening for little hidden messages among common chatter among the radio. And again, feel free to intermingle those devices so everybody knows what you guys are hearing, even though they're going to get the recording back tomorrow. Anything being spelled out for us yet, Tina?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other major questions? So the hope is that if there's a ghost next to me that we can't see, the camera will. So it's going to be able to put another stick figure standing next to it.
Who's playing Rudolph? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's actually one of the examples I normally give. Let me explain why. So if we ask, what color is a big red barn? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Your spirit boxes are slowed down. That's why I usually write down the whole phrase, because if it does answer Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, we don't need Rudolph the Nosed Reindeer. We just need that red. So I'll be writing that one down for sure. That's actually an example I give pretty much on a nightly basis, no matter if it's July or December. Actually got anything else before we move on? Turn the other way and avoid being killed. Okay. All right, let's go learn some real history, guys. Let's do this. All right, sidewalks that make the parking meters run. So in between spaces, is you can pretty much ignore them. So I normally get anywhere between a 3 to a 7 milligauss. That's the unit of measure from both. Where's my other one? Michaela, right? So that's the unit of measure for both of those, so that way you guys can actually see them. They're just two different types of EMF. So let me kind of give a quick explanation so you guys know what Troy's looking at. If you were to put Troy's device behind your TV set, it's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. So that's how much electricity your TV puts off when it's running. You're standing next to your microwave while it's heating up your food, about 150 to 170. The highest I've ever seen that device go in my 12 years of ghost hunting has been at this location, 214 milligauss. We left. That's why I call him the safety director. I actually have epilepsy, so in the event that there's too much electricity in the air, we need to leave on my account. So kind of keep that in mind. You're going to keep those escalating, so if you get a 2.5, then a 5, and that goes for both of you. Don't give me anything below that 5. You get a 7, don't give me anything below the 7, so that way I don't have a whole notebook full of numbers. Is that fair? Sure. All right. Welcome to a parking lot. I'm already boring Nate because there's already one yawning. I will call them out all night long, just so you know I'm that guy. So, good job, mustache. So, my wife keeps calling me Mr. Beard, so it's not an offensive thing. But anyway, so this parking lot actually used to be something, which is exactly why we're here. By the way, if you have a camera, hit those record buttons. Let's get those things rolling. Yep, you got it. Just a quick tap. You're on? All right, so this place used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Communication devices, that does include Ouija boards.
33, 15.
Nice. 33 and 15. This is where I start withholding information on purpose. So, again, I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the big red barn over there. So you're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. So 15 and 33. Got it? So your new baseline is just going to be a 25. So give me everything above a 25 at this point. So Michaela, you're going to stay at 2.5 because you haven't gotten that high. All right. So who the hell were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you weren't keeping track. That's why we look for those secondary clues. You guys don't have to stare at the empty parking lot. Everybody's like looking around trying to imagine the mansion. But anyway, so the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here, so we're going to move on. If I don't give those gentlemen their recognition, they will do it for me in a very nasty way through a spirit box to one of you. So I try to give them a piece of recognition every night. We're going to be discussing Eliza instead. She has a much better history. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14 when young ladies got married. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age when they married. It was a creepy age gap then, it's a creepy age gap now. So Nate's already got that scowl on his face, I see that. That's kind of gross. So we'll figure those numbers later on. Anyway, she married him because her father was over in England, where she's from, and he thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time. A lot of you parents in the group can kind of empathize with that. If you're on your deathbed, you want to see your kids. So Eliza doesn't believe he's dying, so she stays put and gets married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that particular year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love. This is a true love story, so don't poke the bear on the marriage. There's no foul play, no love affairs, nothing like that. True love. But anyway, she was right. Dad started sending her gifts from England over here because he's not dying. She was correct. One of the gifts that he sent her happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for a day, or you live here, and you've seen the word indigo somewhere. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight because that's how we use it today. When she got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. So when she had it going here, by the way, it's not always warm here, she learned how to make the dye. Then moved to a cash crop plantation down by the Stone River, got a hold of her dad and told him the rice plantations are going downhill in price, we're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. That's something absolutely unheard of. So, that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. That actually explains Nate's yawn perfectly. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to go through everybody with some kind of communication device and kind of give you a series of questions to focus on. You can say things out loud, or you can just focus on them. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to go left to right. So Lucy, you're right in front of me, and Max, you guys have the same spirit box. You guys are going to focus on the same set of questions. You guys are going to be talking about Eliza's death. You can ask her how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So those are 4 major questions that you commonly get the answers to. If you guys ask anything else about her death, just be respectful. It's the only thing that I ask. So with Tina and Tara, I'm sometimes every time I'm looking at you. So the two of you are going to be kind of on the same wavelength as well. So Eliza that I just told you about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So ironically, the first Eliza also had a maiden name that started with the letter L. You're going to be looking for Eliza's initials, E-L-P, in that order. No anagrams, no mixing it up. I want them in that order if you can get them. And then you're going to be asking about the maiden name itself. Which Eliza are we dealing with? I'm going to give you the clue that starts with the letter L. And that's pretty much it. My other two spirit boxes, so that would be Sam and Jada. So you two, your spirit boxes work pretty much the same way too. So you guys are going to have the same set of questions. The mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it, and if you get the what, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers from the when. That's a very specific date. All communication devices, I want you guys to all keep in mind that almost all my gear is out tonight, so if you ask me questions, those answers can go anywhere. That's why you're going to tell me all the little silly Adele things like what Lucy had before. You don't know where the answers are coming from or what questions were being asked from other people. Even if I had just 2 people on the tour, there would be a minimum of 2 communication devices so we can verify what's actually happening. We don't know where it's actually going to fall. We also have 3 video cameras recording audio, so the answer can go there, plus my voice recording. So we never know where these things are going to actually go. So we're going to kind of spread out in this location. I'm going to keep Tina behind with me for just a minute so I can show her more about her device. Stay away from the one measly vehicle that we have. And again, I'm going to do like 1, maybe 2 round robins with everybody to kind of see what everybody's got going on with their devices, take a few notes, bring us back here and give us all the answers and show you how all these puzzle pieces actually are collected. So let's get you guys spread out. Scram, we'll have a good time. Tina, stay with me. Alright, so your device it pretty much works just like Troy's device, right? EMF meter. It's part of the reason why I wanted to put it in your small dynamic for the group. Because again,
One button.
so if it
The
goes
one
off,
button.
I can't see.
I turn the sensitivity down.
There's 3.
By the jump.
Oh.
Controls it. So there's a little dial below your red dot. Turn it. Stop. Now you can crank it up.
What year did the mansion burn down? Eliza, are you with us? Hello?
Someone's singing.
Eliza, was that you?
What did they say?
Turn it up.
I can't. This is cool.
Eliza, are you here? What year did the mansion burn down? Are any of the slaves still here? What does it say?
I don't know.
What does it say?
Got anything yet?
We actually,
Some stuff, like, it sounded like someone was singing,
Okay.
and then that's like it.
Okay. So you guys are
And
only
stuff
going
like
to hear.
I can't make out.
Yeah, and that's going to be most of the night. So you're probably only going to hear about 15 to 20 terms out of this all night long. Whereas the other 2 with the headphones, or the other 3, they're going to be giving me shit for every location. You
Yeah.
might not get anything in a location. You might only have 1 or 2 things where they have like 10. So,
Yeah.
and once I get them used to how to listen to it, I'm not going to write down everything that they hear because most of it's going to just be gobbledygook radio chatter stuff. I'm just like, I like to create a big grab bag so we can kind of sift through it. Was it, you know, especially when you get weird numbers and things like that. That's when I'm like, oh yeah, numbers to research.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
of course, our one car is leaving.
Yeah.
Nice. So this is the only exit, just so you guys know. Somebody watch the vehicle if they might be moving. All right, I can work with
It said carry threshold.
Liza, are you here? What is your maiden name?
Car behind you. Any readings coming out of yours, Michaela? No numbers at all? It's a good thing. Remember, you want yours to be low. Exactly. So with yours, you know, I don't always follow with that camera and your camera at real time. So small and set to YouTube, so you guys can watch that. So if you do spot something, just let me know, and I'll write it down to make sure I survey that entire part of the video. So that you're going to see like a lot of insects and that kind of thing. So I debunk a lot of those things. But again, if you see something like, I'm not really sure what that was, that's where I mark it down. That way I know to watch that part of the video. So it doesn't really matter male or female to me. Especially I don't normally even come close to getting those kind of things on a regular basis. So with those kind of things, like to me, that's maybe other bullshit. So I don't even bother writing it in. This is a happy place for the girl. So as long as we're respectful to her, we will get some positive messages. So she just has to kind of get used to you guys for a few minutes. And I'll explain it.
Lisa,
Sound like someone's screaming.
turn up to your ears and you hear it.
You can hear it.
What do you got? What is it?
It's KUL space IVCCXL.
Okay.
I don't think that means anything.
I don't know. It might. Eliza, hold on a minute. What was her initials?
There's no E.
What was her initials?
Oh, what does that mean?
PU. PUV.
You hear mine? I don't think it's nothing.
L.
You said what?
It's blinking on L.
R.
It's SIE. SIE.
What is your name? E. It starts with E.
E.
D.
All right, come on over here. Everybody's over here.
Mine is just loud.
Sam's device wasn't sweeping, so I'm kind of trying to give him an extra minute because he's literally just getting used to it. Jada and Steelers. You got Steelers.
What's this?
You didn't play for the Steelers. I'm sorry, did you get anything on there, Jada?
Where is that?
Pittsburgh. Any words being spelled out for us?
No,
Initials?
a bunch of letters.
We do have just a
You
bunch
got
of
ELP
C's.
in any order?
No, we haven't had the ELP yet.
Or any three letters or more? So don't give me
Oh
like,
yeah, we got a whole series.
Yeah, but as long as does it spell anything that's
Oh,
three
gotcha.
letters or more. So don't give me like it says two, like T-O.
Sue, I don't know the word Sue for S-O-U. It was S-O.
Not a word.
Yeah,
S-O what?
It's S-O-I-E-X, like the Indian Sioux.
S-O-U-X. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's spelled Sue.
it's spelled Sioux.
Nice. There you go. See? Dad knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Nick, is that me?
Interact, or are you talking about all the red
Yeah, all
garbage?
that red going on.
That app is whenever it starts to recognize something, it's still meant to try to scare people. It makes growls and all kinds of stuff that we don't need. I have it on page. It's just part of the aesthetic.
Okay.
But names and numbers usually don't lie. Did you get that thing reset?
Yeah.
Okay.
We said it.
All right.
Were Sioux Indian in this area?
Wrong numbers then. Wrong.
It's going to be more north of here.
Wrong numbers.
We were going to have more Indian, and I can't say for sure that it would be Sioux.
Right.
But I do know, like, Kiowa was an Indian tribe. That's the name of a city here, Kiowa. I'm trying to think, there's another one up in that area. I just don't know if there was a whole lot of interaction with the Indians, with the Pinckney family.
Gotcha.
So,
Virginia, where we're from.
what do you got, VA?
Yeah.
VAG.
You got
It
any
spells
other numbers?
Vegas. That's our next vacation.
All right, this is pretty light. All right, let's bring everybody back in. So, Lucy, she can't hear me. There you go. Sam, did you get anything? No. Did you get anything now that you have it sweeping properly?
I mean, I heard the word airplane.
No airplanes in colonial days.
Right.
We're going to write it down because you heard something. So yours, just like Jada's, you're probably only going to get like 15 to 20 terms out of that thing all night long because it's trying to take out all that white noise. So we did get all the way up to that 33 on the EMF reading, so that's exciting. We did get the number 52 that I'm going to point out really quick before I give you all of the other answers. So we heard 5250. Was that the exact price point that you heard of
Yeah.
some commercial? 52 being a specific number was Big John's second jersey number. So again, I look at it that way. I'm hoping that on who has a recordable one, so that would be Max. So I'm hoping Max just missed something that's going to give us another clue to what you heard on that 52. So we're going to be. I'll talk more about bleed over here in just a minute.
Let me see.
So Michaela's still good. So nothing really going on there crazy. So actually, I want you to turn your dial to counterclockwise, so towards me. Turn the dial. There's a dial on there. So let's kind of cover the answers. I'll show you how this goes. One more. Oh, I'm sorry. Go over one. Perfect. So yeah, we're going to put you on that one so you can kind of measure the same way that Troy is at this point. This is really the only one that I worry about, those super high ones. So if you're getting things, that way we can kind of toggle it.
Sioux? There's the
The
other
fact that it's
Sioux.
spelled out Sioux as in Sioux Indian, like that's a very complex word.
This is another one. This is another Sioux. This is S-U-E.
That's interesting. So now you have two different Sioux on there.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm going to write that one down too. So let's cover the answers. Again, this was pretty light. I mean, normally average EMF for this location is between 18 and 22. Obviously, we went above that. But just the other night, I mean, we had that thing in triple digits. I mean, it was going crazy, and we had a lot of terms that were more relevant. You guys can see now why I don't always give you all of the information, so that way you're not searching for anything. But yeah, let's kind of go ahead and cover all of these answers, and then I'll tell you about the next space that we're heading over to. Let's see. So first thing, whenever I break out the tablet, it's just to kind of give you the picture pages of everything you guys were just trying to do. This is Eliza Lucas Pinckney. Maiden name being Lucas that we're looking for on your device, Tara. So So she was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45. Nobody gave me any of those specific numbers, so just take that for what it's worth. The first wife, just so you guys know, was Eliza Lamb Pinckney. And we have had the word lamb show up on other spirit boxes, not just the two that I assigned it to. So kind of take that for what it's worth. The mansion. This is fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. This is exactly where you're standing right now. So it kind of gives you an idea of why we're here. So with that, if we get the word fire, burning, or blaze, which we didn't get tonight, we'll often get 2 or 3 numbers from the date. Like I said, December 11th of 1861. You can imagine my excitement if we get 12, 11, 61, and the word fire all in the same evening. So, and it has happened.
Whoa. You said 61?
Yes.
Yeah, when I was on the numbers, 61 did show up.
In order?
Yeah.
I'll take it. Beautiful. So, again, we're just missing things in real time, which is okay because you guys have never done this before, especially these spirit box things. I mean, these are, really hard to do. And I threw you guys into a very active space. So, again, I'll take that 61. I still don't know who the Sue is, the S-U-E. So we're going to talk about that later on. Every tour in town is going to tell you about a great fire that happened here in Charleston because we've had dozens of them. This is a map of Charleston, obviously the orange being the fire. You're standing on a tiny little green dot on the eastern coast of this peninsula, which is exactly where you are right now. This is about $9 million worth of damage to obviously the peninsula of Charleston. So you can see where this was a very big deal. The children. I didn't tell you guys not to ask about the children, but it's normally a set of questions I stopped giving out, but I do like to at least give a quick brief on them so you know what I'm looking for when I go through the recordings. Charles, you already know about. By the way, there was 4 children grand total. Charles, signer of the Constitution, so we already talked about him. The next child is Thomas. He was shot during a Revolutionary War battle, the Battle of Camden, and his left leg. That's why I was asking you if it was lay or leg on there. So when the British released him, they basically left him on a cane and a limp for the rest of his days. So you can see the very specific clues if the name Thomas will show up. The next child is the one where I don't hand out the set of questions about the kids, Baby George. Baby George, in June of 1747, didn't make it. He was born and passed. So his death certificate only says June of 1747 on his birth and death columns. So we don't know how old he was exactly. There's no specific dates. But I have, obviously, a theory on that because, again, you can look these things up. You wouldn't name a child back then until they were christened. So I'm going to guess he's at least 2 weeks old. And that's just my guess. The other weird thing about George, he does not have a headstone. He does not have a grave. Here's my theory on that. This gets a little weird for some of you. Back then, the church may have allowed the family to mummify the baby and keep them right here in the home, in a tomb, waiting for mom to pass away so he could be buried with her once she passed, Miss Eliza. Now, it's going to get more weird when I tell you about Eliza when we kind of get to that part. One more child. Her name is Harriet. She's the only daughter, and she marries Daniel Ory. Those of you not familiar with our coast, Myrtle Beach is Ory County. That's 2.5 hours north of here. That's where Harriet lived. I don't hear from Harriet very often, but it wouldn't have been a 2.5 hour car ride for Eliza. Lots of letter writing. When Harriet is here, very seldom, we'll get terms like quill, ink, paper, published, anything dealing with letter writing, because they were all published. So it's a very big deal to Miss Harriet. Eliza's death, which was basically our major focus for Max and Lucy, she was 70 years old when she passed away. For all the young people here, I'm going to point out that that's a long time for a woman to be alive during colonial times. So I'll just point that out first and foremost. She was going to Philadelphia, not Pittsburgh for the Steelers, but she was going up to Philly to get treatments for whatever they thought she had. It turned out to be breast cancer. We didn't know what breast cancer was in 1793 and the year that she died. So we're going based off her medical records today. She died in Philly. She's buried in Philly. That should raise 2 questions in the back of your brain. First question is Baby George. If my theory is true, they're going to transport that tomb of the baby from here all the way to Philadelphia by horse and carriage. That's a long ride. So again, most of you look old enough to remember the game Oregon Trail. Somebody's going to get dysentery on that trip. It's at least 3 weeks long. The other thing about that is if she's up in Philadelphia and that's where she's buried, what the hell are we doing here? I don't actually take you to cemeteries. Let me explain. It's minimal activity at best. I do this 7 nights a week when the weather allows. I need active spaces where I can narrow it down to 1 to maybe 2 people that come through on a regular basis. None of you are going to hang out near your grave when you're gone. You're going to go to your mansions 400 miles away, which is exactly why I bring you to an empty parking lot. This is where the raised emotion was for Eliza. She learned about her indigo here and raised her family. This is the raised emotion of that woman, which is why we're here. So, who wants to take a guess who the president was that was the pallbearer at the funeral? Where's my history buffs? 1793. I love the feet shuffling. Like, nope, not answering that
Nope.
one.
We ain't walking
I'm
into
actually
that one.
glad you guys can't answer. Let me explain. It was George Washington. At his own request, wanted to pay homage to Eliza based on her indigo. It helped get our country started. I'm happy you can't answer because when we got over here, I told y'all I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. I do that every single night so I know who I'm working with. I subliminally put George Washington in the back of all of your brains and you all passed with a fail. Good job. So I do it on purpose. And it's the only word trick I play because if it was somebody with a spirit box that told me George Washington, I would probably take their spirit box and give it to somebody else that they came with. Just so that way she's not repeating all of the same things I've already said. So that's why I withhold a lot of information. So the next space we're going to be relying on bleed over. Wow, you guys are like a super quiet group, by the way. Like all laser focused. We're going to be relying on that bleed over, kind of like what we had from Big John over here with the number 52. We could have actually had Pinckney Mansion stuff over by Big John's. We just missed it because you guys didn't know what you were listening for yet. But where we're going is an alley, so it's obviously going to be a little bit more narrow. We're not going to be able to spread out like what we are. We're going to go in there and kind of stir some shit up and then go across the street, tell the history of that space, and you're going to get answers from both locations, especially from the bleed over from the alleyway. Cameras, you won't be recording until we get into the alley. Just be very discreet when we are in there, because there might be other tours that are in there as well. So kind of keep that in mind. EMF readers, you can ignore your readings along the way. So Tina, this is where you're going to scale back about a quarter turn. This is really about communication devices and spirit boxes along the way. You guys are going to tell me all what you've seen or heard once we get into the alley, so I can write them all down at once. And I do have to write down that Sue that came through in the 61. Any other major questions about the Pinckney family? I know this one can be a little dry, but believe it or not, this is one of the most active spaces I've ever been on in 12 years. So it's just, I have a relationship with this lady. By the way, this is a space I was going to be taking out of my route. I do change this every year because I get a lot of repeat ghost hunters, and they don't always want to see or go to the same spaces, so I take out one space and add a new one. We are actually going to be testing the new space tonight, just so you know. I do that in November, December, so January I'm ready to go. But this one I was getting very, we'll just say, disrespectful ghost hunters on your end. Like, come on, Eliza, let's go. And then they go take a leak in the corner. Like, that's disrespectful. I was getting a lot of nasty messages on spirit boxes, so I kind of gave it a little bit of a break. So my deal with Eliza is I literally pass through this space every night before I meet y'all on that corner 1 block away, and I read off your names. That's how I already know your names before you guys show up. I read them off, and just to let Eliza know how many people I'm bringing, it's a respect factor. And this is the only space that I truly do that for. Everybody else is usually pretty good to go. But this one, it's just a little pact that I have with her, and it's on a private note. And yes, I do speak it out loud, and I'm reading all of your names off as I'm walking through here, which I don't think I've screwed anybody's names up yet. Look at me go. I even have you two down pat. Awesome. Let's go learn about killing people. You ready for that, Jada? Go learn about killing people? Oh, sorry, I'm trying to wake you. Yeah, go ahead. Stop your cameras at this point. Kind of give your hands a break. Sorry, I should have told you. I want you to keep that earbud thing because you're going to go back to it. So take that earbud out and put it in your hoodie pocket. We're going to be testing this guy out here. So this is a new EVP recorder that I just purchased. This will be the first time that we're trying it down here, and you guys will see why here once we get things going. But this EVP recorder, you basically hear a frog fart from 3 miles away. Like, it's pretty intense. So, and then of course anybody else who wants to try it before we leave the space, obviously you'll have that option to pass out the headphones all the way around, whoever wants to try it out, kind of see where this goes. But you're basically just going to be listening in. Obviously you're going to hear me talking very clearly, but you're also going to be listening in the background for any other voices or any other kind of sound. Because they'll probably come up this way. We're just going to split the seats and let them pass through, and then of course just be very discreet with your cameras. With cameras, you do want to try to get an angle that's not necessarily within our group. You almost want to like keep it going one way or the other. And I know it's kind of blocked down there for you, Anya, so yeah, there you go, just nice little angle, you got it. So if they come down here, just step off to the side, we'll have a much better group. So Herb, you're like perfect. I love the belly shot, by the way. So, welcome to Philadelphia Alley. This one is the one I'm taking out this year. So kind of keep that in mind. Every ghost tour comes down here. It's kind of a staple. So if you've taken another ghost tour in here in Charleston, you've probably already been here. And Lucy's like, yep, we've been here. So have you guys, do you know why you're here then?
They weren't with me. I was with
okay, gotcha. I was kind of like, wait a minute. So this place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. By the way, where are we at with our word list? Give me the last 3 words.
Sure. Right now it's, well, can you, dependent, and earn.
So Dueler's Alley, they're all telling the same story that I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to give you a few extra details because you're ghost hunting. you're not on a campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So remember, we're here to kind of stir things up, and then we're going to go across the street that way, and hopefully you guys are going to continue to get answers from here over there. The doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. So on your antenna, you're actually looking for the letters RI for Rhode Island.
Okay.
Now, his name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you still listening to your spirit boxes while we're here, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not by coincidence. We get it here all the time because it is part of his name. So, and by the way, Jada, you didn't get anything along the way here either?
I didn't have it already.
Girl, you're supposed to be working.
So
You're
fired.
So, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes down here to Charleston, and he's going to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. He's going to make his own with his new medical practice. On his way into town, the coachman that he had set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver. So somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop there for just a second. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, which is exactly why Tina is holding the device that she has. I was getting the letters RI all the time on your guys' spirit boxes, so I bought that device to verify the actual lettering of it. We've had it about half a dozen times in the past, we'll say 10 months, since I've had it. And usually when I bring up Ralph's name. So again, that's why you're looking for RI specifically. Anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them, and you'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. The two gentlemen became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's cash. She gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can be married. And Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. This is part of the reason why I gave Sam this device. Every ghost tour that comes down here tells you to listen for the whistles. And we're going to have this group coming through here for just a moment. We have caught whistles here, but with this new EVP recorder, hopefully they come through a lot clearer. So, you're hearing them, not any actual whistling, just so you know. You're hearing the group coming by. And I'm glad I got to that part before they came through and started whistling, because they all do it every single night. So.
What's this?
Hello?
Okay.
Yep, go for it. We're waiting on you.
Oh, thank you. That's nice of you.
So, where was I? Dr. Ladd and the Whistling Doctor, right? So, I will tell you about the whistles kind of a little bit more after I'm done going through the history. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So, they go see a play one night, Richard III, and they're walking home discussing the new actress they just saw that was new to town. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. They start arguing, and then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly, and they went their separate ways. I told you Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of thing. The doctor saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. Somebody's going to die. I want you to keep in mind that this whole argument started over an actress. Neither one of them even knew. So, they came down here, they took 10 paces away from each other, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. However, Ralph has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc doesn't die, but he fell to the ground. Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off, not willing to forgive, but Doctor's friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, on November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. I'm going to point out two things. Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Now that other noises are around here. So, it is, I'm telling you, that thing is intense. But, first off, Dr. Ladd is a doctor, and it's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and probably tried to bleed it out himself, but he failed as he died. And every ghost tour will tell you to listen for the whistles while you're down here. We have 3 cameras running, 2 EVP recorders that hopefully will capture that type of whistling that will happen down here. I will tell you, from regular spirit boxes, we will get whistling parts of songs with the word doctor from a commercial immediately after. So it's almost like a Guns N' Roses Patience, doctor. It comes through very quickly, and the dozens and dozens of times that I caught that, I can't find it coincidental. So take that for what it's worth. So Jada, I can't wait for you to actually turn that thing back on again. Sorry, it kind of reminded me of this. What are you turning doing?
Is it on?
But we will get the numbers 59 and Amanda and all of the other clues of the things that I already told you about while we're here and when we're at the next space. Now, if you're going to try this on your own and walk all the way through this alley with your voice recorders from your phone, just remember that every local, just like the group that just passed through, they all know the story. Anybody walking down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I used to do it every single night. My office is right over here. My garage used to be over there. I have to pass the alley between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm done with your guys' data, and I'd always throw a whistle. Sometimes I got one back. So, take that for what it is. However, everybody knows the story. I told you I've been kicked out of this alley. This is the fun part of the story. You guys ready for this? So, this alley didn't go all the way through that way. There was a wall halfway between us and Cumberland Street. So that means that the bricks down on the other side, by the way, that's because this is where they kept the livestock. This was called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley. So cows and chickens were down here. Those bricks on the other side are older than the ones you're standing on. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full imprint from a slave child down there and fingerprint swipes in others. I used to take my groups all the way through there just to show the brick as part of history, nothing paranormal. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not there. It's the last place you're going to find it. However, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10, group just like this, huddled around this brick, waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful, not realizing I was out of bounds for tours. So, the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on a tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. She thought it was hysterical. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked for Walmart for over a decade in upper management. I don't work on Thanksgiving ever again because you guys like to fight over towels. Anyway, the next day, November 28th, I called my partner that I had at the time who brought me into tourism away from Walmart, and I told him what happened with the owner of the mansion. He laughed at me just like my daughter did. He said, "You're only allowed to go down halfway, dude. That's the cutoff point for tours. You got to reroute your group." So I rerouted my group, but I told them I don't believe in the next story because I've never had anything happen over there with my gear. And I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we'll discuss some pirates next. However, before we left, somebody with a spirit box heard the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like, well, hot damn, maybe we're going to get something. Somebody else with another spirit box around the corner, once I gave them a little bit of history I did know, heard the number 300. I don't know what that one means. I wrote it down. I researched it for him the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So it was kind of like, well, damn, I was actually pissed off. Reason why, I have a master's degree in creative writing. I've already mentioned several times that I'm a writer. I knew facts and data. We're going to let this young lady pass through.
I was going to say, that's one hell of an aberration.
We got you.
talking.
We got you on tape.
Uh-oh.
So, again, I need facts and data, especially when I'm doing this. Pirate stories come from pirate lore. That's my problem with it. And they were written 100 years after the fact of these alleged occurrences, which is exactly why everything I'm about to tell you came from a minimum of 2 resources. Is she still lingering around, like waiting to see if I'm accurate? Because she is doing a pirate tour. But anyway, so again, just kind of keep that in mind as we kind of go through her history, and then we'll be able to spread out like we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. Anything weird going on with her devices that I need to know about, give me words, give me things spelled out. If you've heard any whistles, talk to me. What do you guys got?
Strong, agree, try, confrontation.
I like confrontation. It's weak, but it makes sense. So Max, did you get anything?
I just had like a loud scream that I thought I heard doctor.
Thought you heard doctor? Lucy?
I heard USA.
USA. Okay. Alright, so, nothing on there that you can make out? Does anybody else want to give this a quick listen before I put it away? Because we're going to try it again later on. See how intense it is? Wow, no takers. Want to give it a whirl? Pass over the headphones. Just don't put the headphones next to those mics. It is pretty intense. Yep, there you go.
There you go.
Told you, it gives high feedback. So you should be able to hear just about everything around you.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever listened to one of those 8B songs on YouTube where it sounds like everything's around you?
Yeah.
That's exactly what that feels like. And there's only 2 mics on there. I can add 2 more if I really wanted to. All right, any other takers before we go learn about crazy pirates? Rated R pirates? Wow, nobody even got my rated R joke. My bad dad joke. Come on, man, I need a good chuckle out of here. There we go. All right, hand that guy over. I'm going to stop it so it doesn't screech. That was about 12 and a half minutes, and then we're going to use this again later on. So Sam, you're going to be listening intently.
Turn yours on.
Yep. All right, let's go learn about these crazy pirates, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, when I get to the places.
You're at the places.
Yeah, I'll put it one in.
That's why I asked you, did you get me?
Get that spirit box running, Jada. That can work.
Oh man, I passed by here like 3 times. I wanted to know what this building right here is.
You guys gotta like gear up because like our last stop, I need a good listener. Like it's kind of intense. When you guys see what the last stop is gonna be, we're gonna be doing the Estes method at our last stop. Is anybody familiar with that?
Blindfold?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's another element that's been added to that with VR. So I'm gonna need 2 people to do that experiment.
I'm
I
down.
normally pick somebody that's been with a spirit box the whole night, and I usually look for like the best listener out of like whoever has those spirit boxes to be the one with the blindfold on, and then the next person uses the VR. So if anybody wants to volunteer for those, just let me know before we hit that last stop. Just talk amongst your party, and we'll kind of see how this goes. Man, you guys are quiet.
I'm down. Blindfold me. I'm down.
All right, so yeah, cameras, if you have them, hit those record buttons. We're going to be discussing the little tiny building up there for probably about 5 minutes, and then we're going to spread out like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. So let's get into this so you guys can get back to work. So every tour comes through here and tells you something about that little building. That is the Gunpowder magazine. It held gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. So we're here for a specific reason. Those are not crosses on the building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you don't know what earthquake bolts are, you guys have seen them all over town that look like lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of Charleston charm bullshit. But earthquake bolts are basically turnbuckles. So in the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I mentioned earlier, you can tighten those buckles, and it's supposed to tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring these ones up specifically is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. The reason being is that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming here to start her new life. That's why we're here. She recognizes it because it's from her era. Now, you guys do watch the TV shows. You've seen that Boo Buddy, right? That's the teddy bear with the little blinky light EMF meter in there. A couple of head nods, yes?
Yep.
So that Boo Buddy they use because they're trying to attract a child ghost, because they would recognize the bear as a toy. Think of that concept of why we're here. There's not many buildings around Charleston that Anne would actually recognize that are still standing, this being one of them. So, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years?
Yeah.
Not at all. But our history begins right in the middle of it. So try to follow me. There's a couple of twists here. I'll slow down on the twist, but we'll try to breeze through the rest of the story because it can be lengthy. 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, good, because that can be a little twisted. The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was that wife that she kicked them out of Ireland by boat? So, gents, if you're here with your ladies, be good to your women. They'll kick you up to Canada. And we have planes now. Now, they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation up there, but Mom died pretty quickly. So that means Dad now has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell things from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. Back home in Ireland, Anne was kind of a badass back then. They say when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. I know we did get the word knife earlier, but again, a little too far away for my taste, but a lot of times we'll get servant, knife, and belly out of 3 different communication devices, and the other 2 people don't know what's happening. So, back to Anne. Fast forward. The building's done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. The reason why, she's going to fall in love with one of these guys so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So it's a man's world at this point. The first guy she falls in love with, and yes, I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through them all. That's what makes the story so damn good. The first guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because I've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad did not approve. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormac became Anne Bonny. That's where the pirate name came from. However, when they get down to Jamaica, she realizes her new husband, James Bonny, is not the Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which makes him a spy for the British and a coward. This isn't who she wanted. She falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, but everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering. Calico Jack has his own ship, he has his own crew. Anne wants to be part of that crew. You cannot put a female on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why? Nobody wants to answer that question.
Yeah, that's where, yeah.
I do that awkward question on purpose to see who's paying attention. It's bad luck. So I'll keep it nice and simple for you. So you can't put a female on there because it is bad luck for the ship. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. The reason why, Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But most of us are adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in Jack's quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. And before she starts the show, Jack drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here, come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. She also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. To make him even more angry, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, just like a male, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So, we have 2 females just like males on the same ship. Her name, Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure because of the time period. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor is, they were the only 2 pirates that were not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet guns, the flintlocks. They didn't know how to use cannon jet. So, they come up, they start fighting, they get arrested because that's not going to work out. 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns against the whole fleet of ships, not going to go. They get arrested, and as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on communication devices a lot. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. The 2 ladies go in front of the judge, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here with all of his Irish money in South Carolina. So he bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't really know jack squat about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was something simple like fever. I say let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? You're welcome for that image. Now, here's what I left out. I'm not going to assign questions here. This is not a prominent English woman that we have to tiptoe around. This is a kick-ass female pirate, so kick her in the shins to get some answers. I'm just going to give you a few things that I left out on purpose so you have something to work with. The names of her parents. I know those for fact. I did not tell you what they were. That's the father and the mistress. I also left out the name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. I did not tell you what that was. The name of Calico Jack's ship that she joined, and the color of her hair. That's an easy one for those of you that have been kind of struggling with spirit boxes. That's an easy one to find. So that's why I usually throw that one in there, and you can assume that she is the cliche red hair, green eyed, Irish woman. You'd be correct. So her hair is red. So at least you know at least one answer. The rest of them you're going to get from your communication devices. EMF, I'm only really excited about it on the back half. The closer you get that way, we do have 2 electrical poles, parking meters on the other side. So the 2 of you that have EMF readers, don't get too excited about things over there. It's usually on the back half, and a 2.5 here is exciting. Like, believe it or not, we don't normally see a whole lot here. Your thing's going off like crazy, Tina. What do you got going on over there?
November, Sunday. Well,
November,
NOV is Sunday. I mean, I'm just, sun.
S-U-N.
Maybe Sunday was, at first it was November, then I saw sun.
It's not November, it's N-O-V.
Yeah,
I'm
that,
correct
yeah,
on NOV.
But,
yeah.
But the trial was also in November. So it's not
Yeah.
coincidental that you got NOV here.
yeah.
Was it on a Sunday?
And,
No, it was on a Wednesday.
Okay. So we got sun.
yeah, S-U-N.
So the fact that you're getting anything on there is exciting. Other spirit boxes, do we have anything before we spread out? Anybody else need to tell me anything? All right, let's spread out. Let's get to it. You guys know what you're doing? Sam, you still got your spirit box, right? I'm gonna look up that day of the week now.
Jada. Jada.
November 28th? Yeah. Where do you get the 28th? Is that NOV?
You ask any questions?
I did. It didn't say nothing.
What was her name?
I can't remember.
And Pirate Lady. I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but we want to communicate with you. This box we have right here, you can use it to speak to us. Come on. You still here? You can use that device to talk to us, communicate with us. We got November. I understand you were tried in November.
What in the world is that?
Is that you? Do it again. Come on. You can do it. Just talking to the machine. It's not going to hurt you.
Have you went around talking?
No. What's your name, Ann? Was it?
Why are you recording me?
Disappeared in the camera. Like, talking like a full 4 to 5 seconds. I mean, it was bigger than my hand. That's the hand in your shit. I had to catch it when I was going through the video. So, again, craziness. I mean, I didn't have all of the lights. Like, it was
There you go.
I had a much smaller bulbous light. There's no way from the lighting. That's another reason why you run the is that the actual light bulb. LEDs doesn't give off light. Probably have a small crescent moon in the bottom, but it's not very hot. So that's why.
Come on, let's see that.
What do you got on yours, actually?
I got Princess Diana.
Sam actually is good. He had British ship, and then he heard the Queen. Now you're hearing Princess Diana. It's a little weird, isn't it? Like, Diana was not the name of the mom. Very interesting.
Where are you?
Perhaps you guys have to switch things up a little bit. Let the girls listen in and figure all of that out. How are we doing on yours, Jada? I see you went to your own little private sanctuary back there.
It sounded like before my dad came over there, it sounded like a girl said just, but that's all they said.
Okay.
And then that's it.
That's all you gotten out of
A
it?
couple
Yeah.
screeches when I was over there with her.
Yeah.
I was asking a lot of pretty aggressive questions.
What do we have going on there?
VALUCIK.
C-I-K, so almost the letters of my name. Is there an N in there mixed somewhere?
No, there's HOP. HOP. UCIK.
I'm just writing that down in case something else kind of pops up. Just to write it down. Then you had another, what was the other 3-letter word you had?
Hop.
Hop, thank you. Interesting. We're getting a lot of like British terms coming out of all the other spirit boxes, which is really weird. They're like Princess Diana, British ship, and the Queen. Like from different spirit boxes.
You ought to put it
Not
on
from the same
numbers
person.
and see if you can get some Roman numerals, some dates. Be kind of cool to get.
The actual
Well,
number.
yeah.
Oh, you did flip it around.
I didn't know it was good.
Yeah, I told you it was the same. Just keep it within the box.
9. Okay, what?
I don't count it as evidence because that's a
93157. What is that?
11.
All right, go back to the alphabet.
Leandra.
DX.
That could be Roman numeral.
I know. That's what I was looking at.
And that's odd that it did that as soon as you switched back.
Yeah.
What is that in Roman numeral?
Just can't put a story again. All right, let's wrap this one up. Jada, you got anything else?
It sounded like it said love, kind of.
Oh, I'll take love on that. Bring this. All right, let's bring it over here. This one's going to be light. I don't like to waste time if you don't have to. Take mine here, and we can just move on. Cameras, feel free to give your hands a break. Anything crazy on yours, Nate? Nothing? Interesting. The January, February is standing out to me. I don't know why. I'm going to have to look in. That's why I wrote it down. Again, I'm not afraid to say I don't know something. So that's kind of the weird thing about this is like your tour guide's telling you he doesn't know something. That should show you how honest I am about everything. Any weird... So we're here simply because a murder in 1933 happened 2 blocks from here, and it is out of bounds for tours. So I stopped here on this specific corner because the woman that was murdered is buried across the street at St. Michael's. So I figure we're in a good triangular effect for this very prominent woman. Her name was Mary Ravenel. Here's the quick story of what happened. By the way, the word Ravenel, the name Ravenel, if you're not familiar with that, here in Charleston, if you came over from Mount Pleasant, the big giant bridge, that's the Ravenel Bridge. So again, that's a very prominent name here in Charleston. So here's how this goes. November 1st of 1933, woman falls to the ground, middle of the daytime, starts screaming in pain, saying a man somebody's driving by and picks her up and puts her in their car and takes her to St. Roper's Hospital. That's where MUSC sits now if you're kind of a local. So it's about 3 to 4 miles from here. And basically when they get down there, she has a doctor and a nurse helping her out, trying to figure out what's going on. And all she's screaming is it hurts me so, it hurts me so. The doctor's name was Dr. Avery Finger. We've had both parts of his name show up on different spirit boxes at this location. Keep in mind, I've only been coming here for about 2.5 weeks. Now, the nurse, her name was Nurse Glasscock. So I haven't had anything come up about the nurse yet, but we'll see. So basically, Mary dies on their table, and they have no idea how she died. So she goes to autopsy, and they find this mark underneath her arm and follow it and realize that there's a bullet hole right in her ribs. The bullet went in between her rib cage, across her chest, and landed in her heart. It was some kind of 38 special type of bullet. Excuse my ignorance on gun and ammo. It is not my thing. But later on, there was a natural disaster of a hurricane or flood or something, where they actually discovered this very specific type of gun that could hold those kind of bullets, but no confession. There are many speculations on what occurred. Some family members say that she was trying to learn how to shoot, and she had the gun on her and basically fell and it went off. So I find that a little incredible since there was no gunpowder residue on her body whatsoever. I will also point out that none of her jewelry was missing. We have had, during this next session that we're about to go through, the VR, pieces of jewelry show up as part of AI imagery. So again, we're going to this park right behind me, so not too far away. So I've been basically asking you guys, what would you want to know about this murder mystery? What kind of questions would you ask? What do you think would trigger some kind of information?
Did you shoot yourself?
Did you shoot yourself? That's a yes/no question, but we are using a standard EVP recorder, so that could somewhat work. What other questions? Jada, spin those wheels. What do you got? I see you looking straight up, like... What other questions, guys? Come on. It's a murder mystery. What do we want to know?
Was it a man or a female that shot the guy?
Okay. Man or female? Do we know if she even knew her killer? Did she see them? Okay. I like it. What else? He has been ghost hunting.
She said a man hit me.
A man hit me. Correct. So she knew
But she was shot.
Okay. But they thought she was hit by a car initially because they couldn't find any, massive wound.
Barrel.
Barrel. Okay. She sees that it was a 30 question. What else? Come on, guys. There's got to be at least one or two more good questions we can get. Have you heard anything weird, by the way?
Just cars.
Just the cars. So I will tell you, about a week of us starting this whole session, I did get a help in the background on a very quiet night. No wind, no cars, random Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day of the week it was, and we heard a help in the background. About 3 or 4 nights later, I let the person continue to wear it as we went to the next spot, and there was a whisper as I'm listening to this audio. Can't make out what it says. A couple seconds go by, another whisper, and then the person using it said, I think I just heard some whispers, but she never told me. So I kind of stumbled upon them the same way that she did and couldn't make out either one of them. So they were definitely not part of our party because they were like, you'll see if we actually get a voice how weird this actually sounds when you guys get your voice recording back. Anything else weird going on with your devices? Since you guys don't have any other major questions about this location? Here's my next question. Do you think this EVP recording, as crazy as it is intense, is this a good device to focus on for this location? This is me testing you guys. Sorry, that's going to be super loud.
Oh, it's not.
Would you... It goes off every 15 minutes. It's going to be a sign every 15 minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get answers, I mean, that's kind of what you want to go for.
So I figured the spirit boxes would be a good supplement at this point, even though I mainly rely on spirit boxes. I
Right.
figured this way we could have direct answers
Right.
and kind of take things from there.
Yeah.
So that way she could tell her part of the story since we don't know it.
Right.
That's the whole point of why I bought this device, was to try to get more of a direct voice
Right.
versus just my standard voice recorder that I normally use. All right, so who am I going here
Oh,
again?
it's a bike.
Yeah, it's a mic. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you have to call those things out because of the voice recording. So we're definitely going to. You guys have. Where's the other spirit box?
Oh.
Okay, so you are going to be using that spirit box. So that way I don't have to try to clean headphones at the next location and all that mess. So Herb, you're going to be trying a new device that's kind of a supplement to this whole scenario, and I am stalling so we get more of the recording, and I'm going to explain the next location. So I'm basically going to sit these two down. Obviously, Tara's going to be telling us everything that she hears in real time, and it's going to hopefully look like a conversation because she will be blindfolded, and she'll also be kept out of the history. So Herb's going to be sitting right next to her, but he's going to be using a virtual reality cam, and my phone will be in there generating AI imagery that has never been seen before. The hope here is that his images that he will see will be complementary to whatever she's telling him. So they're both not going to know the history of the space. That's the cool part about it. So keep in mind that both of these are supposed to be meant for one person. I separated it because it can be very intense for people that don't do this on a regular basis. So the history there is very short. So questions I will be asking Tara while she's under. So with that said, once we get into that part, if you want to hit those cameras to turn on, we'll probably just stop yours because you're not going to be using it, obviously. Once we get into the